All right, so we are live now, boys. Welcome to All Washed Up. This is episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of reaction of how each of our separate teams did in the draft and what we think for their future here in the 21-22 NFL season. And then we're going to go through, I think we decided we're going to do all of the division winners, what we think are going to be the division winners. All the wild cards and extra teams. So basically, top 16 teams, top 8 for each division or conference. See how close we all are together. I think we're both all going to be pretty close here on the AFC, but the NFC, when I was going through it, I think is a kind of a crapshoot here. So once again, we got Big Al there, all the way from Boise, and today we've actually got old OZ Billy Wright, all the way down in Texas, made his appearance today. So welcome to Billy. Hopefully this is what we all wanted. We all wanted us three to be able to do this together. So, boys, what you got? Anything?
Good to be here, boys. Yeah, let's get this going. Draft pretty much it went how I expected it to go. I wasn't really too surprised with anything. I wasn't surprised in the first probably 20 picks through the board. I mean, there was no outside of Philly taking Devonta Smith, who they traded up for. I really didn't have any sort of wow factor out of the first round. So I mean,
nothing too crazy that happened that was just like, holy cow, like what happened? But
yeah, I mean, I would say probably the biggest one would probably be Trey Lance. I mean, I think, Alan, you and I both said Trey Lance was going to go before Mac Jones. I believe that because I had Mac Jones going to the Patriots, which I was right.
Oh, yeah.
I had Justin Fields going to the Niners, but yeah, I think that was probably the biggest surprise out of all of them was actually seeing Mac Jones drop and Trey Lance go 3. So
I did have actually, no, you're right. We both had Justin Fields going to the 49ers because we didn't do any trades with that or anything. And our opinion in who the best player there was, which if we all know, your boy is super happy,
Yeah,
could not be more happy with the draft. It went exactly the way it was. Just like, it was weird. It was Cleveland didn't draft in the top 10. The Bears drafted the right quarterback. And then the Philadelphia Eagles drafted the right wide receiver. It's like, I'm sorry, what happened to 2021? Like, the year's going perfect so far. So
yeah.
we're good to go right on that point.
Not only is it going perfect, Alan, Aaron Rodgers is saying he's not coming back to your division. So Alan's probably running around screaming like, "Oh, we don't have to see him. We don't have to see number 12 the rest of the year. He's not."
We may not have to see number 12 ever again.
That's
and
true.
To be honest, I'm all right with that.
Yeah. Speaking of, so since we're talking about our teams here, I think that we're going to do a little bit of a draft reaction for each of our teams. Obviously, once again, I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan. Alan's a huge Chicago Bears fan, and then there's Billy down there that roots for the old black and gold. So, Alan, what do you think of? You already kind of talked about it. What do you think about the Bears and their draft?
I'll start it off. I mean, again, yeah, Bears, they didn't give up their entire future for Justin Fields. And to be honest, Justin Fields in most experts' books were their number 2 quarterback. He's my number 2 quarterback coming out. To me, he has the highest potential out of any of the quarterbacks that were coming up, even Trevor Lawrence, because I think we've seen Trevor Lawrence's potential and what he's done. Obviously, NFL-wise, it could expand upon that. But Justin Fields, with the ability for him to run, his precision, and everything, and we talked about it last week that his biggest knock was going through his progressions. But again, like you said, Scott, when you're playing in Ohio State and you have those types of wide receivers and protection and everything, you don't need to do that. Is he going to need to do that with the Bears? Definitely. But he has weapons. Hopefully he has a protection now. They traded up for Tevin Jenkins. Absolutely love it. I had them drafting Tevin Jenkins in the first round of my mock draft. So to get him in the second round without moving or that much up, love it. I'm absolutely ecstatic with what the Bears have done lately.
No, I love it, man. Yeah, I agree. I was definitely all about the the Bears trading up for Justin Fields, I remember texting you and thinking, man, Allen's got to be super excited about this because that was a hell of a move. That's something that I was not expecting the Bears to. I was hoping they would, but I was not expecting them to do. So,
no, not at all. Yeah.
Super excited,
Billy,
super terrified at the same time. We all know the Bears could have taken Mac Jones at that same position, which would have crushed everybody's hopes and dreams.
Oh my God.
Which
Allen would have been on the opposite end right there for the for his mood. Imagine taking Mac Jones with Justin Fields there.
It would have
been talking Allen off the ledge that entire night.
So for our listeners out there who don't know, I don't know if we haven't. I probably didn't tell the story last week, but I was in Soldier Field for the Chicago Bears draft party the year they drafted Mitch Trubisky.
I forgot about
So
that.
I'm in Soldier Field. I got to kick field goals on Soldier Field on the holy ground. I got to run the 40 there. I got to meet a whole bunch of players and everything, and then to be standing there with the rest of my Bears and to see them trade up one spot for not Deshaun Watson, not Patrick Mahomes, not anybody else. Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh,
I love it.
This year is amazing.
Goodness gracious. All right. Billy, how you feeling about your Steelers there, bud?
Dismal. Dismal would be a good way to describe it. I mean, granted, we got what we needed in Najee Harris. I love the pick of Najee in the first round. I didn't think he was going to go much further in that round. But then to take Pat Freiermuth in the second round, fucking tight end, you've got like 4 good tight ends on that team, and you take another one. You just lost Villanova, Marquise Pouncey, and I forget who else on the offensive line. And you don't pick anybody top best in that position to replace them?
Hey, real quick. Do you guys remember how everyone was crapping on the Bears last year for drafting another tight end and picking up Jimmy Graham?
It's the Steelers this year.
Sounds real familiar.
Yeah. Big Ben has maybe 3 games left in him before he snaps his femur in the middle of the season. I mean, it's going to be – we're playing for a draft pick next year. And they didn't even address the fact that we need a quarterback, that Ben is at the end of his lifespan as a quarterback in the NFL. And God help us if they think Mason Rudolph is going to be out there taking helmets to the head and going to be our franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Helmets to the head. I love it.
Billy, this is why I love you. It's what's really funny is that 3, 4, 5 years ago, really, like if we were sitting here talking, I would be the one that was in your position as a Browns fan, and just how the turntables, man. I'm telling you.
What's great is actually for the AFC North, I picked the Browns to win the division because I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to have that much well-to-do because everybody's kind of figured out his game. He was like Kaepernick the first 2 years. He was great, and then he fell off. That's the way Lamar Jackson's been.
No.
He was amazing the first 2 years, and he kind of fell off. You saw him start to fall off at the end of last year. And he's great in the regular season, but then postseason comes and he shits his pants. And he has to run to the bathroom in the middle of the game. Cleveland adding what they added in the offseason and what they've retained coming from last year, they are the most dangerous AFC North team to contend with. Granted, Baltimore and Pittsburgh still have that rare opportunity to shine. And it'll be, it's a division rivalry. You'll see them play their hearts out in those games.
Yeah.
But I think outside of that, Cleveland takes the division.
Yeah, and
another ACL because they didn't do shit for him on the front line.
No, I agree there, man. And obviously, as a Browns fan, like looking at their draft, I really wanted old Koromoa I actually wanted him in the first round, and the fact that they were able to get Gregory Newsome and then still get Koromoa in the second round. That to me was, on top of everything else that they've done in the offseason, those 2 picks alone were the picks that I think they needed to really solidify that defense. And their draft grade, I think some people had them at like, an A-. I still think that it's an A+. The fact that Andrew Berry was able to play his cards right to get 2 guys, not just one, but 2 guys in his first 2 picks that are honestly both easily first-round picks. To me, to solidify that defense. And then, one of the sleeper picks, and I actually, in my slide that you'll see later, I didn't add it in there, is one of their late round picks was, I can't remember the kid's name, is running back. And I know they've got Kareem Hunt and they've got Nick Chubb, obviously. But this kid, like, I was watching video on him, and this kid can do anything. Like, he's kind of like that. I wouldn't say Tyreek Hill, but he's got the speed kind of like Tyreek Hill, and you can literally put him anywhere and he will make plays. On top of the fact that you have Kareem Hunt and you have Nick Chubb, but then they also their defense at this point with those 2 were, in my opinion, that puts them at the top of the AFC North. And 100% my reaction to their draft was, okay, let's go win a division, let's go play for a Super Bowl. And I'm a Cleveland Browns fan saying. So I'm excited, as I'm sure at least Alan. I don't know about Billy. I'm sorry, man. Listen, me and Alan know your pain. We've been there. My team's been at the bottom of the AFC North for a long time. I'm sorry, but it's your turn. I hate Big Ben.
I'm not used to this.
I'm telling you, I actually think you watch Joe Burrow might break himself by week 9, but I'm just saying, they're still probably going to finish ahead of the Steelers. But that's just my opinion. Because you're right. Big Ben don't have anybody to protect for him. So,
no.
Since we're here, let's just roll right into that then.
We can, man.
We've already kind of been talking about the AFC North. Let's go. Let's just roll right into it. Let's hit the AFC North and let's go with who we've got winning the division. And give your little spiel about their draft grade and everything.
I'm good with that, man.
Right, I'll go first. Cleveland.
All right. Well,
Cleveland's got the AFC North.
Hold on, I got you. Just give me a sec. There you go.
All right. The key additions, you see all that Malik Jackson, Jadeveon Clowney. The key departures, those were cap hits. I mean, you're going to have Jadeveon Clowney opposite Myles Garrett, who was just a freak of nature already. And not to mention, on the offensive side, you're going to have a healthy OBJ. You're going to have a healthy Jarvis Landry. You're going to have you have Nick Chubb. You've got Kareem Hunt. You've got possibly one of the most dangerous offensive outside weapons and defensive lines that you're going to see in the league on any team right now. And if they can get it to mesh and meld, they're going to be a tough team to beat. I give them an A to an A+ in the draft, and I say they go 14-3 in the regular season.
Man, that's got to be tough for you to say as a Steelers fan.
Well, I'm honest with myself, and I know
you're a realist. Yeah, see, you're just like me. We're as a Browns fan, you have to be a realist. So
I'm a realist.
Alan, what do you got?
I see the writing on the wall.
So I do have Cleveland making the playoffs, but I have Cleveland falling short, and I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North, purely based off of the ability of what they've done in the draft. First round pick, they take Rashad Bateman, exactly what Lamar Jackson needs. He doesn't need these guys that burn the field. The guy's not accurate deep down the field. He needs these guys who are possession wide receivers who can make the inside cuts. He needs that guy who can run over the middle of the field in Rashad Bateman, who isn't the biggest guy, but he's fast. He's got hands. He holds onto the ball. He can make those inside slants and cuts and catch the ball. And then they get rid of Orlando Brown to the Chiefs right after before the draft.
Yeah.
And then they take Ben Cleveland, who a lot of people were looking at being a high second, possibly first round pick, and they get him in the third round. And then before that, they take one of my personal favorites. They take Jason Oweh out of Union State, who's an absolute monster. But I think it was just overshadowed by Michael Parsons coming out of Penn State. The guy is insane. They need no help there. They need help there. One of the best secondaries in the league. I don't believe that they lost enough in the secondary. They lost Jayceer, and that's about it in the secondary. Jayceer really wasn't that big of a piece of there. They still have all those weapons there, and then the ability of Lamar Jackson like idiots in the middle of the
Yeah.
the playoffs and the win of the NFC North. But like you said, really, really rare to say it's playoffs.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones where, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased. Obviously I click, and I'll go back to the Browns, but I picked the Browns to win the division, and I am biased, but I think I have a reason to be, and the big reason why is they went last year 11-5 with a terrible defense. I mean, terrible. Over the top, I mean, anybody in the secondary was getting beat. The only person that was kind of like a bright light was obviously Denzel Ward and kind of Terrence Mitchell. But like Andrew Sendejo, if there was a big play given up and I was not paying attention, I would look up and be like, oh, I bet Andrew Sendejo missed somebody. And I would look, oh, and there's 23 running down the field like he just missed somebody. Like it was like that. But the fact that they added not only to, I've always said that in order for you to be able to have a good secondary, you have to have a good defensive line, because if you have a good defensive line that's putting pressure on the quarterback, you're giving your secondary a chance. And at the same time, if in order for you to have a good defensive line, you have to have a good secondary. A lot of times Myles Garrett wasn't able to get to the quarterback because the secondary was so terrible that the quarterbacks were able to get rid of the ball so quickly. Now that they've improved that secondary with the addition of Troy Hill, John Johnson III, you've got Greg Newsome back there. You're getting Grant Delpit. You're getting Greedy Williams back. Like you add in the fact that I think it was Brandon Phillips played well last year. Mac Wilson's still there. Then you drafted, Jock and JOK. Like you drafted all these guys. Like you still have. Then you add Tack McKinley, like Malik Jackson. Like they're loaded, man. Like they went from, in my opinion, like a top, 25 defense to a top 5 defense in a span of 1 year. And that's the genius in Andrew Berry. And I feel like even in the games against Baltimore, they were into those games. I honestly, I don't remember the outcome anymore. I know that they lost one. I think we beat them once too, but I can't really remember. The big thing with me is, if you actually look at the schedule, and it's the first time that it's happened to the Browns since 1959, and it's the first time that it's happened in a while, is that the Browns actually play Baltimore back to back, literally back to back. So they play them, I think week 12, I think it is. They have a bye week 13, and then they play them in week 14. So they play at Baltimore, bye week, and then at home. So it's one of those things where if they stay healthy, the Browns can literally win the division in week 14, because you're going to get to play them in Baltimore in week 12. Then you're going to get a bye week to rest, figure out whatever you did wrong if you end up losing, and then you're going to get to play them at home in week 14. So I think that, Pittsburgh still, there's always going to be those matchups with them. There's always going to be those matchups with Cincinnati. And last year there was a couple that were a shootout, mainly because their defense was so bad. But I just feel like it's going to be between Baltimore and Cleveland. And Cleveland, Billy, I actually have them on the same thing. I have them at 14-3. I was looking through the schedule, and there's no doubt in my mind, I think that they start off like hot. Like they start off looking at their schedule like 6-1, 7-1, 8-1, something like that. And it's not until Baltimore before I actually have them taking another loss. So,
well, obviously Cleveland's going to take that L week 1 against Kansas City.
Hey, man. Listen, I know the track record is bad for Cleveland. Cleveland has not won a first week game since it's been a while, but times have changed. By the way, I have tickets for that game. I am going to be there. So
Yeah.
they weren't
But-
cheap, by the way.
The crazy things too is if you look at the AFC North strength of schedule, Pittsburgh Steelers #1 hardest schedule in the NFL, Baltimore Ravens #2, Cincinnati Bengals #6, and Cleveland #9.
So we still go 14-3.
Have a top 10 hardest schedule.
Well, yeah. I
as
mean,
far
look
as
at the
last
other
year's team.
look at the other divisions that they have to play. They have to play the AFC West this year. They have to play the NFC North this year, which, if you know, depending on, I mean, you got the Bears and the Packers and the Lions.
Cleveland and Chicago, baby.
I think honestly, the Lions are a better team, though. Like,
obviously down at the bottom because they're
Oh no! You hold on. You think that the Lions are a better team right now without Matt Stafford?
no.
I think they're going to surprise you. I do. I'm a
Surprise.
believer in
Sorry.
Jared Goff, dog.
Who is-
I'm just a believer in
who's
Jared Goff,
Jared-
man.
Who's Jared Goff going to throw the ball to?
Well, nobody. I'm not saying that they're going to be good this year. I'm just saying that
Again,
if
yeah.
they
Give me one starting wide receiver on the Detroit Lions.
Marvin Jones, I don't
Exactly.
know.
Tyrell Williams.
Hey, there you go, man. You got Tyrell Williams. That boy was on my fantasy team last year. He's good.
Jared Goff had the weapons that he had in LA for a reason. He needed those weapons. It is going to be one of the worst years that the Detroit Lions have ever seen.
Nah, they went
And that's saying something
0-16,
for
man.
Detroit.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think
All right. Well, since we're talking about now, we went from the AFC North. Now, we're already there. So why don't we talk about the NFC North? So, and keep this going.
Let's do it.
Billy,
Let's do it.
who you got in the NFC North?
I mean,
And hey, listen, there's no like, but if you think that trades are going to happen between now and then, like, go ahead and talk about them too. So
I don't think there's any trades going to happen. What I think is going to happen in the AFC North, if you want to pull up Chicago Bears. Alan, shut
I don't have them.
Let me get my spiel out before you start going on like, woo, Super Bowl 2021, baby! Woo! Chicago Bears.
not yet.
All right.
2022. 2022.
Fields will be the starter week 1. His mentality and everything that he's seen, that he's shown, that if anybody's at practice should be playing for #1 spot, they love the alpha mentality that Justin Fields has. Not only that they have. I loved how they drafted Fields, and they drafted 2 offensive tackles right behind him. So they're committed to protecting their franchise quarterback, whether it be Justin Fields or the Ginger Rifle and Andy Dalton. As far as weapons for them to use, still got Allen Robinson. I mean, still got everybody there. That's, and we'll see how that pans out because they didn't go as far into the skill player. Because Montgomery's still there, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Technically, their skill weapons are still loaded. They've got Allen Robinson. They've got Darnell Mooney, who was an absolute beast last year. If you go back and look at his tape, he would have tore up the NFL had it not been for Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles throwing the ball to him. Then they drafted Daz Newsome, who is a monster. They still have Taylor Gabriel. Taylor Gabriel retired. They have Turbo Taylor. They have Tariq Cohen coming back after tearing his ACL last year, and they added Damian Williams from the Chiefs.
Yeah, they did.
In the offseason as well.
Yeah.
Their backfield is loaded. Like if Damian took the year off and kept himself healthy,
so I think
Watch out.
Chicago has a legitimate chance at winning the NFC North, barring Aaron Rodgers not coming back. Aaron Rodgers comes back and plays, you guys are fucked.
oh, that's the key factor, dude. Honestly, that's the key factor. Like
Unless Aaron Rodgers is hosting Jeopardy for the 2021 NFL schedule, Chicago. If Aaron Rodgers is hosting Jeopardy, Chicago will win the NFC North. If Aaron Rodgers is playing to the Green Bay Packers, the Green Bay Packers will win.
interesting. I fully did not expect either of you guys to have Chicago. Honestly, even in the playoffs.
I don't have Chicago in the playoffs.
He's got Minnesota.
I don't like that. I personally I've got Minnesota winning the NFC North if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play.
Hold on, I got you, Doc.
I think that pull that up for me. I think that what the Vikings did was absolutely incredible in what they did. Darisaw falling to them. I believe, what was it, pick 18, 17 that they had, and Christian Darisaw falls to them. Darisaw's an absolute beast. Yeah. Love that they took Kellen Mond to back up Kirk Cousins. They had no backup, so they had to make a move. So I like the Kellen Mond pick. I think Kellen Mond has a big future in the NFL if he has the right people around him to develop him. And then to take Wyatt Davis in the 4th round, I had him going as a 2nd round pick. Like, him to fall that far was absolutely crazy to me. So they've reloaded the offensive line for Dalvin Cook to just absolutely run over every team that they go through. Like, if Dalvin Cook doesn't break 2,000 this year, I'm going to be surprised. And that is if he can stay healthy, which we haven't seen yet. So we'll see if that can happen. And then the defense, the defense was their sketchy part last year. And I think that they've done enough of a job to help out the defense. Like, they got Patrick Peterson. I think Patrick Peterson is still an absolute beast. They threw Xavier Woods into safety, and then they drafted Chaz Surratt. Chaz Surratt's an absolute beast. So if they can keep everybody healthy on that team, I think that the Vikings have a real solid shot without Aaron Rodgers to win that division.
Yep, and obviously I have the slide here, so I'm with you, man. I actually picked the Vikings to win that division, and then once again, it was like, even if Aaron Rodgers was there, I still think it's all going to really depend on, in my opinion, on how well Kirk Cousins does, because I think he still has weapons. Like, I know that they got rid of Stephon Diggs last year, and like he went to Buffalo and all that, but Justin Jefferson is going to be, I mean, he already is, but he's going to be, in my opinion, he stays at this level. The kid's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's a monster. He's fast. He's quick. He runs great routes. Like, I'm lucky enough to get him in the 15th or 16th round in the keeper league this year because I was smart enough to pick him up. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they worked on the offensive line a little bit, added in Mason Cole, and then still working on the defense and Patrick Peterson, like you said, and Xavier Woods, and Christian Darisaw, adding them to the offensive line. I mean, that's just it's just gonna keep things going for Dalvin Cook. So. And it's nice to have, like you said, Kellen Mond to kind of, obviously I don't think he's going to start this year by any means. He's not I don't think he's kind of like a project guy a little bit, but to be able to sit behind Kirk Cousins, who at this point is a veteran, learn a little bit from him, and if the time is right in the next couple of years, actually, start thrown him in there. But I will say this for all these slides for you guys that are paying attention and seeing. All the draft prospect or all the draft people that are on here, they're all the first 4 rounds. I didn't add the last couple for the simple fact that besides Tom Brady, you really don't see a ton of influential draft picks after maybe the 3rd or 4th round. So the Vikings had a lot of draft picks in the first 4 rounds, as you can see. They worked on the defense, they worked on the offensive line, and I really do. Even if Aaron Rodgers is there, I still think that the Vikings can win that division. So, where are we going? Let's see. We've done the AFC North. We've done the NFC North. You want to go AFC West here?
Let's knock out the easy one. I mean, I feel like
the easy one. Let's get it out of the way. I mean, I'll just pull the slide up now, unless somebody's got the Broncos.
Everybody unanimous about this? It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs. I mean, we all know that.
I'm sorry. Until Patrick Mahomes stops playing football in whatever division he's in, that's the team that's going to win. Like, it's point blank simple.
Except
what
me and Alan were talking about earlier is if
the
trade happens.
Okay, so I'll talk about mine. I have Kansas City with an A. As their draft grade, and their A brings in the fact that they were able to get Orlando Brown right before the draft.
You can't add him into your draft grade, though. Like, he's not
my-
part of the draft.
But
So-
it happened right before the draft. And so with them adding that and not having a first round pick, they were able to get the people that they absolutely needed. They still they took Nick Bolton with their first what was it, the second round pick that they got? Let's see. Yeah, Nick Bolton in the
Yeah, he's a second
round.
rounder.
Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey. They got at the end of the second round because they were able to hold on to their 2 second round picks. Creed Humphrey is an absolute stud, man. Like, the kid's a beast. The kid has that mentality, and to be able to go to the offensive line where they just picked up Kyle Long from the offseason, which, as a Bears fan, I am absolutely just mortified that he wouldn't come back to the Bears. I get it, totally get it. Not okay with it. But then for them to do that, and then with Orlando Brown, and then the rest of their picks down through, I think they did an absolutely good job. Cornell Powell in the 5th round to replace Sammy Watkins. The kid's a stud, and he was playing only with Trevor Lawrence. Like,
See, one of the big things I got with Kansas City is this is going to be every year for them. They are going to be drafting every year to replace their key high-dollar players because they gave Patty Mahomes such a ludicrous fucking contract.
Yeah,
This
I
is going to
agree.
be every year they are cutting and re-signing guys to one-year deals, and if they don't produce on their one-year deal, they're gone for the next year. Because this is going to be their next. This format that we've just seen from the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be the next 10 years of what we see from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean,
But it
you go.
works,
I mean,
though.
it really is. Honestly, it's. Think about all the
It
Patriots
works, though, 'cause look
teams
at what
that
the
it does,
Patriots
and
did.
think about all the Patriots
Yes.
teams. I mean, how many times did the Patriots like? That's exactly what Bill was like. You don't produce, bye bye, see you later. How many 1-year deals, 2-year deals do these guys do? For that exact reason,
Yeah.
because they were finally at that point where, all right, we've got the quarterback, we've got the running back, we've got the receivers. Let's just pay them all a bunch of money and sign all these guys to 1-year deals and make them prove it. And if they don't, bye bye, see you later. We'll finish you. We'll put somebody else in there. So
Yeah. We're playing in the NFC, right? We're playing in a Super Bowl or a championship game every year. And it's going to be like the Patriots were in the early 2000s.
yeah,
It's like, if you don't want to take less money, we know what we have in Patrick Mahomes. We're going to keep him for life. If you don't want to take a little bit of money to play with Patrick Mahomes for a year or 2 years,
Yeah.
or whatever they do, then
have-
cool. We don't need you. Like, we will get people into the building that
Right.
will take a couple $1 million to win a championship, and then, hey, we'll see you later. Thanks for playing with
got
us.
their ring, they're out the door, but it's going to be one of those things where
Yeah.
we're going to see this kind of reload from them year after the year with the offensive line, defensive line, skill positions
Yeah,
outside of, I would say, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. You're going to see this kind of thing happen year in and year out with the Kansas City Chiefs. And some years it might be great, and some years it might be terrible. So, but I don't see anybody in that division really rising up to their kind of level in the next 2 to 3
Not
years.
yet.
no,
No.
I don't think maybe necessarily to their level. I think the Chargers are on the move. And I agree.
love
Like
Justin.
we've definitely talked about it already, but with them kind of one guy leaves, bring another guy in. You see that, and they lost Eric Fisher, they lost Mitchell Schwartz, they lost Austin Ryder, but then they bring in Orlando Brown and Joe Thuney and Kyle Long and Austin Blythe and okay, well, all right, well, we don't have Damian Williams. Well, we bring in Jerick McKinnon. Like, I mean, they've literally just mismatch, and they still have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So
Yeah.
they're still going to be good. They're still going to be the best team in the division. I think that the Chargers are going to be close, and I still think, and we've talked about it, and Alan and I talked about it offline before we started, is if Aaron Rodgers does go to that Denver team, like there has been talks about him possibly getting traded there or whatever it may be. If he does go there, the weapons that they have in Denver and the defense that they have in Denver, they're a quarterback away. We all know that. They are a quarterback away. Teddy Bridgewater is not the guy.
Everybody knows.
I think that they are better. I think they're definitely better with Teddy Bridgewater than they are with Drew Lock, even though I'm high on Drew Lock. I think you just need to give the kid some time. I just feel like if Aaron Rodgers goes there, that they will compete with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I agree. I just think the Chiefs are just too good. But moving on, we did the AFC West, so let's we go NFC West here since we just did the AFC West.
Yeah. Let's do it.
We got NFC West. This is the division to me that I think is a crapshoot. Honest to God, like I have a winner of this division, but if there were 3 teams that made the playoffs out of this division, it wouldn't surprise me.
So this is where I think the biggest thing too is that the NFC is where it's such a it's up for grabs.
It is.
Like I think that there's no clear cuts in any division right now. Like if Aaron Rodgers came out today and he was just like, hey, you know what? We resolved it. I'm playing. Cool. I think the NFC North would be the only division. Oh, I'm sorry. Besides the NFC South. We already know who's winning the NFC South with that. But the NFC North would be the only other one that would be clear cut. The West and East are just absolute crapshoots right now. But for me, with the NFC West, I think that this is the year, and I think that Arizona takes over that division and just runs wild with the NFC West.
That's exactly who I had, Alan.
I was very impressed with their draft. I think that they were a little flashy in what they needed to do. I think they definitely could have done a better job with solidifying up their pass rush because they have like no pass. I'm sorry, Billy. I know that you are like partial to the Houston Texans, but J.J. Watt is not J.J. Watt anymore.
No,
the dude can't stay healthy.
Three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt.
No,
make a
he's not, man.
But is he going to disrupt an entire game? He is absolutely not. But getting Zavon Collins on an outside linebacker and Victor Dimukeje, I don't know how you pronounce that, but that gives them – you can tell they were trying to bolster their defense because that's where they lacked the entire season. Yeah, they were putting up 21, 28 points a game, but they were giving up 45 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they drafted Marco Wilson as the heir apparent to Patrick Peterson. Marco's decent. Cornerbacks out of Florida tend to be rather decent in the NFL, so we'll see if he can live up to that. They obviously aren't happy with their younger wide receivers coming in. They got AJ Green in the offseason. So
is that where he went? I hadn't looked.
Is that
where
he
went?
Healthy with DeAndre Hopkins. Wow.
Christian Kirk.
AJ Green with DeAndre.
You got D Hop. You got Christian Kirk. You got Rondale Moore that they drafted in the second round. And then
that's who they drafted to replace Christian Kirk.
Is Fitz coming back this year? Or is he officially retired?
Yeah. No, I think that I think it was just kind of went under the radar, but I believe that they brought him back because his deal was up. No, actually, I'm sorry. Nothing has been done with Fitzgerald yet. Actually, I just pulled it up. Nothing has been done with Larry yet. So he's kind of still in limbo on whether I would assume they're going to bring him back. They're not going to do him dirty like that. But who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but having D-Hop and, seeing Kyler Murray come out, and let's see how he does this year, because this is kind of the year where they're going to be like, all right, put up or shut up for Kyler.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest flaw with that team, though, too, is they didn't really address running back really that well. They brought in what's his face from Pittsburgh?
James Conner. They brought James Conner.
Yeah, they brought James Conner. I'm sorry, but I love James Conner's story. Love the dude. He's probably one of the most wholesome people in the NFL, but he's not it. He's not it. And then you don't re-sign Kenyon Drake?
No.
what are you planning on doing? Kyler Murray
Yeah.
can't run as much as he did. He showed that last year. He got hurt, and then they had to keep him in the pocket, and he wasn't doing well in the pocket. So, but still got them winning the NFC West.
So I don't. This is, like I said, this is the one division where I was kind of like. So honestly, I actually had written it. I wish you could see my notebook here, because I had written down the Cardinals, and then I was like, nah, it's gonna be the Niners, and then I was like, no, it's gonna be Seahawks, and I was like, I start going through everything, like all their draft and everything they lost, and I was like, dude, I don't know, and then finally I decided on. Let me find it here. I decided on the Rams.
Let me see.
And for this reason,
I see that.
I don't want to say they had a great draft, but let's talk. Yeah, like Matt Stafford. I'm kind of going against everything that I said earlier, but you added Matt Stafford. I know that Deshaun Jackson's old, and he's, I wouldn't say washed up, but the dude's still fast, and if he can stay healthy, that's just another weapon. But wide receiver wise, they lost Josh Reynolds. Hold on, let me finish. They lost Josh Reynolds.
About Deshaun Jackson. Who's the best? One of the best deep ball throwers in the entire league?
Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford. Who's one of the best deep ball runners and who can track down balls in the league?
Exactly. Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
So, I'm probably not going to, start him on my team unless they're just, a terrible secondary. But Deshaun Jackson's actually not a bad pick. But with Matt Stafford back there, and I'll be honest with you, I really don't know who their running backs are with Malcolm Brown gone. And obviously Todd Gurley's not there anymore. Who would?
No, I was thinking Austin Eckler, but that's L.A. Chargers.
That's the Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've got somebody back there. But the big thing is that you've got Stafford chucking balls with
Cam
a
Akers.
decent. Who was it? Oh, that's right. Cam Akers.
Cam Akers. And Cam Akers is actually, a lot of people, if you guys didn't know this, sneaky pick, a lot of people are projecting Cam Akers to be a first or second round pick in a lot of fantasy football leagues.
Dude, and you know what? That
he's
wouldn't
just absolutely going to go wild.
No, and that wouldn't surprise me at all, because he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and now you've got Matt Stafford checking down to him. On top of the fact that you got Cooper Kupp there, like I said, you add Deshaun Jackson, you work on Tutu. I try to look at their draft. Honestly, I'd never heard the name Tutu Atwell at all. Their draft, I think what did I give them on their draft? Let's see. I gave them a D plus, a D plus.
Oh,
but at the same time,
you were nice to them.
Yeah, I was. But at the same time, I just feel like you adding Matt Stafford, replacing Matt Stafford with Jared Goff. And I know that I said, yes, Jared Goff is better off in Detroit than Matt Stafford was. But Matt Stafford in LA is better off. That's why I always thought that trade was a great trade, because I just felt like both teams were better off at the quarterbacks. They suited those teams better, in my opinion. And Stafford's going to get a chance. You know that the dude's from California. The dude has a house in LA. He wants to show out. He wants to have a good time. He's comfortable there. One of his best friends is Clayton Kershaw. That this dude is about to have the year. He is arguably, in my opinion, he could be one of the top quarterbacks taken in a fantasy draft. He's going to have a good year. And yes, they have the Cardinals and they have the Seahawks and they have the 49ers to deal with. But I just feel like the Rams are just going to be just that much more above the other three teams to be able to take the division. The Cardinals were my number 2, honestly. However, I don't have them making the playoffs. But we'll talk about that going down.
All right. Quick question, Scott. Did you just say Matt Stafford's from California?
I'm sorry, he's from Georgia, isn't he?
No, he's from Texas.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know anything.
Kershaw went to school in
Sorry,
Texas.
he went to Georgia.
He played in Georgia, but they grew up in North Dallas together.
But he has a house in California.
I think he does because
at this point,
because Kershaw and him are best friends.
Yes, and they grew up in North Dallas together and went to some preparatory school or some shit.
Okay,
like
well, I did not know that. I just knew that
But at
him and
this-
Kershaw were
at
best
this
friends,
point-
and now they're both in LA.
At this point, what professional athlete doesn't have a house in? What professional athlete at this point doesn't have a house in LA or
This is
some part of
true.
California, though?
This
But,
is
I mean,
true.
like
a smart one.
LeBron had a house in LA for the longest time and was still playing in Cleveland. Like it's
This is
just
true.
But so with the Rams, I agree with your draft grade for the Rams, Decker. They did a horrible draft. Tutu Atwell, when his profile coming into the draft, he weighed 149 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm taller and I weigh more than Tutu Atwell. I may not be as fast and everything else, but I'm sorry, 149 pounds. You didn't see a 149 pounder in the NFL since I believe the stat was like 1960s was the last time somebody weighed that little in the NFL.
Yeah.
You are
Now,
playing.
do you have a
You are.
handicap sticker for being vertically challenged?
Yes, I do. I do actually. I proudly display that on all of my vehicles. This guy. But I'm sorry, every day in practice, you have to line up as a wide receiver against what's his face? The island himself over on the other side. I can't think of his name right now. Help me out.
Jalen Ramsey.
Darrell Reeves?
On the Rams. Jalen Ramsey.
Oh.
I'm sorry, what? Like, Jalen Ramsey has made a point of making his own teammates look pathetic. What cornerback does that? He's going to do this to a 149-pound child. Like, I love Tutu Atwell, his story. The kid is a beast for getting drafted in the NFL. All praise to him. Oh, but I'm so afraid for his life.
But see, and this is the only
right.
this is the only thing about like the Rams though is like I wouldn't say they're at like Texans level, but like they've lost a lot of top draft picks because of trades and everything else over the last few years. So like, a lot of wide receivers were taken and there's not much left. So let's take Tutu Atwell. Yeah, sure, he weighs 149 pounds, but he runs a 4.29, so like he's fast.
Yeah.
There were other options though.
Texans are the freaking France of World War II. Like, they're just getting decimated. All right.
So we're done with the NFC West. Let's see. You want the AFC South?
AFC South.
Let's do it.
All right, AFC
I
South.
like it. I
Let's
think
do
this
it.
is a toss-up here too.
All right. I feel like there's only one cleared win here, and it's Tennessee.
I agree
Titans.
with you. Oh, see, I'm not there. I disagree with you. So we'll. You can go right ahead, bud.
What?
While I have the Tennessee Titans making the playoffs, do not have them winning the AFC South.
I have them winning the
I don't
AFC
either.
South strictly on the back of Derrick Henry. Texans are a dumpster fire of a team. You might as well burn everything you have on that team. They're going to get Bill O'Brien just dump gasoline on everything and set it on fire before they walk him out the door. And he was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going back to the Patriots." And it is absolute madness what they let that man do to that team before they fired his ass. And then the whole Deshaun Watson scandal, which, in my opinion, with the way that this has gone, I think is him wanting out and the Texans management being like, that guy, we're going to create a scandal to make him devalued in the league. I think a lot of this is just hoopla
I agree.
and bullshit on their part because they were pissed off at him for being like, no, I don't want to play here anymore because I'm better than what your shit management team has done to this team.
I
So
agree.
to point to that real quick, just a point to that. So with that situation, we're not going to get really too involved with this because it's not what we do on here. But to that point, though, there's a few key factors in this whole thing. One, want to start off and just say, look, if the dude did what he did, I'm sorry, you're dirty. That's
Yeah.
highly messed up. I hope those women get
Absolutely.
the justice that they
Absolutely.
need. Okay, because that is yeah. But one key factor in this whole thing that has been bugging me ever since I heard about it was the lawyer representing I forget what the number is up to now, but I want to say it's 16, 22 women. The lawyer who is representing these women is the neighbor of the owner of the Texans.
Yep.
I'm sorry, if that doesn't raise red flags, then what? What else does?
There's challenge flags going out all over the field for that shit. But I'm
I agree, man.
deep out of the sun.
That's weird to me. Very weird.
All right, barring that, going further in division, Urban Meyer and his godly team that includes Tim Tebow and Trevor Lawrence and basically Clemson Tigers East. The way he drafted that team, I was like, man, he just basically took the Clemson starting offense and was like, yeah, I'll run this as the Jacksonville Jaguars and make it Clemson.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? They won the national championship 2 years ago. But Indy, I don't see them. I see them giving the only opposition. Like, it's going to be either Indy or Tennessee. Houston, Jacksonville don't have a shot there. But I see Jacksonville just on strength of veteran players on that team and them knowing how to get there to that point, and Indy not doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
I can see that.
So my thing about it was, I mean, I would love to see, as much as I hate Urban Meyer, I like seeing the bad teams get good quick. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me being a Browns fan. I like that's how it goes. I don't think Jacksonville is going to be there right away. I think that they're going to make strides, but I also don't think that Urban Meyer is going to end up being – I don't think he'll be a great NFL coach, but I will say the way that the league has evolved, I think that he will be a better NFL coach now than if he were to have come into the league like 10 years ago. Just because I feel like the way that the offenses are run now are a lot more college-oriented. That's the best way to put it, I guess. More spread, more fast and everything else. And that's kind of what he ran in Florida. That's what he ran in Ohio State. And I mean, the dude coached at Ohio State, saw Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. So it was just like, okay, well, why don't I draft them? Because they're really good. So, but besides that, for the AFC South, I actually do have Indy winning the division. Let me get to their slide here. I think that if you go back, Carson Wentz is one of those. Carson Wentz is like a prove it guy to me. Like I feel like
Tennessee. I've got Tennessee make.
Did I cut? Are we really that delayed? My bad.
No, Scott. It just turned your video off due to connection.
Hold on.
You were cutting in and out like super hard. Yeah.
Go with what you got, Alan.
I like Tennessee. I've got Tennessee making the playoffs. But here's my thing with Tennessee. Every team is going to know exactly what Tennessee's going to do. And is Derrick Henry still going to get his? Yeah, of course. It's Derrick Henry. The dude's a king. He's going to get his. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're playing from behind, it's the same situation as Baltimore, where if Baltimore gets ahead, they're good to go. Tennessee gets ahead, they're good to go. If they play from behind, though, that's where they get into trouble. Because right now, Tennessee has A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds as their starting wide receivers. They didn't draft a wide receiver until the fourth round, and it was Dez Fitzpatrick out of Louisville. The kid's good, but you needed another wide receiver to replace Corey Davis. And you just let Jonnu Smith leave in free agency.
Yeah.
Like, the offense really – and on top of that, you let Artie Smith go. You didn't let him go. Artie Smith left as the offensive coordinator to the Atlanta – he's now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. So, I don't trust the head coach. I forget what his name is, but I don't trust him to run that offense. I don't think that they did enough in their draft to help out the offensive side of the ball and the departures on the defense. You drafted Caleb Farley, excellent pick for where he fell at. If the dude stays healthy, holy crap, he's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't. I have, and I guess I'll just roll with it a little bit. I've got the Colts winning that division. And the only reason that I say that is because what is it, Reich was the offensive coordinator in Philly when he was there with
Carson Wentz.
And they picked up Schwartz, the offensive tackle from the Chiefs, to throw in there. And Indy has one of the best offensive lines. They're bringing T.Y. Hilton back on a deal. Jonathan Taylor's still there. They brought back the running back that tore his ACL last year behind him. They still have Marlon Mack that's there. They have the wide receiver weapons. They went defensive with their draft with Kwity Paye, who I think is absolute stud. Odeyingbo, the defensive lineman. They only lost Eric Ebron in all of that. And then they drafted, it's Kylan Granson, but they have weapons. And if Carson Wentz can be the guy he was in Philly with Reich, watch out. Like, I don't think that they're going to make any moves in the playoffs, but like in the AFC South with those teams, they could roll through a lot of them.
No, I agree, man. That's where I am. Is my video better? You guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're
Yes. Good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I obviously, if you look at my slide here, I wrote Kwity Paye. I made one mistake.
Kwity
Paye. But
hold on,
yeah,
isn't he from?
They
didn't he play at Michigan too? Didn't he play at Michigan too?
I don't have the hat on. He did.
Good job, Scott.
Listen, man. I sat there for probably 2.5, 3 hours today putting these slides together. So, I actually gave the Colts a B- on their draft. I didn't think it was great, but it wasn't terrible. I think that they addressed some of the needs that they needed to. I thought that maybe they could have added with T.Y. Hilton aging and whatnot. I'm not a true believer on some of the wide receiver picks that they had. If they would have added one of those top guys, that would have been awesome, to give Carson Wentz just one more weapon to shoot at. But Marlon Mack coming back, that changes the game. The dude got hurt last year. And that, when you lose that type of piece, because he honestly can be a beast. But then at the same time, like, working the defense. And I think we said this in the last episode, and at least I did, like, their defense at one point at the beginning of the year was like, oh, it's a top 5 defense, this and that. They have a great defense and everything, but it was because they played terrible teams. And then they started playing, like, these high-powered offenses in, like the Browns and the Chiefs and the Ravens and all these other guys, and they were just getting lit up. So they actually addressed those a little bit this year. Be able to put a little more pressure on the quarterback. Kwity Paye is just an absolute monster. Watching him at Michigan, I know that he can get pressure on the quarterback when he can. Dude's quick. He's kind of tubby, but he's quick. And I think that they're the ones to look out for the division. I think that Jacksonville in a year or two will be there in the AFC South. And Houston's like Billy says, a dumpster fire.
Houston is 5 to 7 years out from ever being in contention again.
Yeah, you can blame Bill O'Brien for that one. And I think that Tennessee didn't do enough. Alan, I think you said enough for it. Like, Tennessee didn't do enough in the offseason to be able to make themselves and continue themselves to be a contender. So
they lost Jadeveon Clowney. It's like, that's
moving on.
All right,
let's go. An easy one.
Do we even need to address the NFC South? Like, can we just
NFC South? We already kind of we did the NFC or the AFC West, so we can do the NFC South. I'll just pull the slide.
Yeah. Everybody's picking Tampa Bay. They reloaded. It's the same team as last year. Oh, all right, let's move. Everybody knows
right?
Same team. They added Gio Bernard.
Yeah. Hey,
you got Kyle Trask.
That, though, Gio Bernard. Okay. This goes into the whole Cincinnati thing with Joe Mixon and his potential this year. But Gio Bernard in that offense, who can catch passes, unlike Ronald Jones and old playoff Lenny.
Leonard Fournette.
I'm sorry, but watch out. Gio Bernard is about to be the next James White from the Patriots in PPR fantasy football this
Yeah,
year.
that one guy that
dude
you
is
like really want to start, but you can't start because you're afraid like he'll have that game where he gets like 2 catches for like 25 yards and no TDs. So you're like, damn, why did I start James White? Why did I start Gio Bernard? But then the next game he goes for like 8 catches, 137 yards, 4 touchdowns. And you're like, son of a bitch, why did I not start Gio Bernard? Damn it.
he will push Christian McCaffrey this year for the record of catches. I guarantee.
You think so?
Guarantee.
Oh, he says guarantee,
It's Tom
ladies and
Brady.
gentlemen. Alan is guaranteeing it
Tom
right now.
Guarantee. Take it to the bank.
Guarantee.
Take
I
it
will
to the
say
bank.
you
Take-
you make
speaking
a
of which,
good
hold
point.
on. Speaking of bets and everything though, so we'll get back to this Gio Bernard bet, and I wanted to bring this up. I forgot about this. So do you guys remember Avini? Bill, you wouldn't remember it, but you Decker Avini from Whiteman.
Avini,
He was in the Rapcon. Avini, yeah.
kind
No,
of
he was three
sort of.
level. He was a five. He was a 5 level that came to Whiteman in the radar. Anyway, playing Call of Duty with him the other night, he bet me $20, and I'm on the side of this side of it. I think, and I'm sorry to say this, Billy, I'm really sorry. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers finish in last place in the AFC North this year.
No.
I would take money on that.
I took that money and I said, you might as well pay me right now. I'm sorry, but yeah, like Josh Dobbs, if he's still there, I don't think he is. Mason
is.
Rudolph, one of those
No,
guys
they
is gonna
re-signed
have to
Josh
play.
Dobbs.
He's
Yeah,
in the
when Big
practice
Ben
squad.
dies, when Big Ben literally like dies from like being pushed over to the ground
Yeah,
at
correct.
some point this year. Yeah. Oh man, it is going to be bad.
I think if Burrow stays healthy, that the Steelers finish last in that division.
Do I think that's going to
Yeah.
happen? No, because I think the second they drafted what's his nuts in the first round, the wide receiver from LSU, Joe Burrow's left ACL was like, holy shit, I'm gonna die.
I would agree, but I think that they took that liberty.
You know what the funny thing about that though is that Joe Burrow was the one that was pushing for Jamar Chase to be drafted, and I'm sitting there like, if
He
I'm
was.
Joe Burrow
He was.
and I'm in a brace and I just got out of the hospital, I'm like recovering, I'm like, yo, can we get like an offensive lineman? Can we do something to protect me so I'm not running around? Like it'd be great to throw the ball 50 times a game. Like I'm good with that, but like can we find
We also
somebody to like keep me in the pocket?
Of Joe Burrow, Ralph Wiggum beating Joe Burrow's left ACL and him chuckling, being like, I'm in danger. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen because he's going to drop back. And guess what? His left knee is going to get blown out sideways. He's going to be down another year, and he's going to have another like 14-inch scar down the middle of his knee. And he's going to be Lieutenant Dan. He's going to be Joe Namath in the pocket.
So he's going to be the
like,
next RG3.
You should drop and chuck this ball because I have nothing left.
Jamar Chase.
I think
got no
I think
legs.
I think RG3 is a pretty good example there. Like RG3 could have been something had he not blown his knee out. Like you keep doing this to
So all right, let's move on.
listen.
would agree.
That's for a different episode. We can go into that.
We'll go on later.
All right, so we already know AFC South. It's Tampa Bay. The Saints are going to suck without Drew Brees. The Falcons should be good, and they're not good. And Panthers, like who knows? Like Sam Darnold could be really good, but we don't know. I think that we'll go on that. So all right, so we've gone. What are we down to? The East. All right, so AFC East.
The East.
Do we really need to talk about AFC East? Could be. All right, so Billy, you want to go first on AFC East here, bud?
All right, I got the Buffalo Bills. Defensive help in the draft. Additional promise on the offensive line with Robert Hansley. Give Josh Allen more time in the pocket. I mean, Tyler Kroft and John Brown really leaving wasn't that big of a deal. Matt Breida adding there and Bobby Hart. Essentially, it's going to come down to can Josh Allen produce this year? We know he can chuck the long ball. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Cole Beasley. You still got the majority of the team there. It's going to come down to can Josh Allen produce in a big game?
And that's what it is. But I think that the biggest thing for them is what they didn't address is the best teams who win win championships, not fantasy championships. Honestly, it's the same thing in fantasy. The best teams who win championships across the board are teams who can run the ball. The Buffalo Bills can't run the ball. Josh Allen can't run every snap. Matt Breida isn't a viable option to bring into there. And the running backs that they have just aren't good. Like, they didn't have a good split with them. They didn't give either one of them time to just run away with the offense. And then when you go out and then you draft Gregory Rousseau, who a lot of people didn't like in the first place because his year one, his freshman year in college, he killed it and then took the second year off. And then the biggest fault with him is that he didn't give enough pressure to quarterbacks. Like, it was off of blown plays from the secondary is where he was able to get his pressure on the quarterbacks and get his sacks.
Yeah.
They easily could have drafted Basham in the first round. I mean, they got him in the second, which is great. They easily could have drafted Basham in the first round and then went Rousseau after that, or went after one of these running backs that were there. But I think the biggest thing, though, is they replaced John Brown with Emmanuel Sanders. And I think that is going to hurt Josh Allen quite a bit. I don't like that for his productivity.
I'm really surprised
I'm not a fan of it.
I'm really surprised I didn't have that on my key additions here.
Yeah. It was.
I'm with you, man. I still got the Bills. You really kind of already hit everything on the head. With them, I felt like if the you go back to last season, I feel like if the Browns had gotten into the AFC Championship, thanks to freaking Chad Henne, the Browns had gotten into the AFC Championship against the Bills. I think the Browns still go to they beat the Bills, and the main reason why, and you already alluded to it, is that they have a running game and the Bills just don't. And I think Matt Breida will do well. Do I think that he is the key factor to take them over the top to be able to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs? And honestly, once again, I know I sound super biased saying this, but the Browns are going to be so good this year. And the Bills are Josh Allen, Billy, go back to what you said. This is kind of Josh Allen's had good years, but it's almost like a prove it year as with Josh Allen too. The dude could have a really good year. Losing John Brown doesn't mean much because they still have Cole Beasley. And actually, in the games where John Brown was out because he was hurt so much last year, in the games that John Brown was out, Cole Beasley was a monster. He was a monster,
but they had that other kid. I forget what his name is, but he stepped up real big too. But
no.
Yeah.
But yes, but I think what I have their draft grade. Let's see, I have their draft grade as a C. So once again, not great, but not good, and not terrible. I actually like the late round KJ Britt pickup. I think KJ Britt was one of those guys that was deep in excuse me. He was a fourth round pick late in the draft, but he's somebody who can make an impact really quick. And I still think that their defense is very good and their offense is still going to do what it's going to do. And I think they'll win that division, but I think they're one of those teams, depending on who they get matched up against in the playoffs, could be a first round exit. And it kind of sucks because, they went to the AFC Championship last year against the Chiefs, but depending on who they get matched up against with this new, three wildcard format and all that, they could end up getting against somebody who could take them out in the first round. So let's keep moving on. We've got the AFC South, AFC East. So let's go to the NFC East here. I think this is actually a little bit of a toss-up, and I don't think that we're all going to agree on this one. But Alan, I don't see Billy here in the camera, so You go right ahead and you can
He'll
get
be
it
right
yours.
back. Yep. So NFC East, I'm actually really interested to see what you guys have. I think, to me, this is the biggest division that's up for grabs because of exactly what happened last year. Is we have no idea how these teams are going to respond.
Yeah.
I have Washington taking that division. I think that Washington, with the addition of Ryan Fitzpatrick, Curtis Samuel, which you need to throw that in there in your key additions because that's
I thought I
bigger
had him
than
in
Adam
there.
Humphrey.
Oh, okay, so I
No.
did have him in
Oh,
there.
you
I must
do?
have
No, I'm
believed.
sorry. You do. No, you do.
Okay,
I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say I
didn't-
thought
yeah, didn't
I was
see
gonna
it.
say I
Yeah.
thought I threw him in there.
Yeah, you do. Curtis Samuel taking the load off of
Dude from
Scary
Ohio
Terry.
State.
Like,
Yeah, Terry
oh
McLaurin.
my goodness. I think Fitzmagic could have like one of his best seasons and just ride into the sunset with the Washington football team.
Well, even look at Adam Humphries, man. Like, I'm not trying to cut you off, but like, not just Curtis
No.
Samuel, but you add Adam Humphries too. Like, who was the guy that caught the touchdown in the Super Bowl at the end of the half? It was Adam. Was it not Adam? No. I'm sorry. It was.
Not in the Super
I'm
Bowl,
wrong.
no.
No. That was Scotty. I don't know. Whatever his name was. But anyways, go ahead. Continue.
Scotty, yeah, I know what you're talking. But their biggest strong suit is their defense. And then in the first round, instead of addressing anything else, like they obviously need offensive line help, which they did in the second round, and they got Sam Cosmi, like
Yeah.
great pick in the second round with availability of getting him. They took Jamin Davis. Like, your defense is already a stud as it is anyway with that defensive line. Your front six is one of the, like, if not the best front six in the NFL. And then you go super defensive on like in the draft. And you give William Jackson is still a viable option at cornerback. Is he a stud? No, he's not a stud. But he is a guy that you can throw in there and like rely on, not like to possibly
Right.
not get super burnt on a play. But their biggest strong suit is their defense, and they were able to stop everybody. Like, nobody ran the ball on Washington last year. Like, nobody did. And then for them to continue to add to that and then bring in Fitzmagic into that, hate to see Alex Smith leave. I think it's great that he decided to just call it quits. I don't want to see that dude die on an NFL field. Good Lord. But yeah, like I don't think that any of the other teams, I think that with Dak Prescott coming back, I don't think that he's able to bring that team fully together. And I don't even know if he's going to be ready to go. Like, that was we literally saw Dak Prescott's tibia on the field when he got injured. Welcome back, Billy. We literally saw his tibia on the field. They didn't do a whole lot to address the offensive line for Dallas. And then their biggest weakness is their defense, and they didn't do a whole lot to help out the defense. Micah Parsons, I'm sorry, but every linebacker that Dallas has brought in either gets hurt or gets hurt. Like, so there's no other option there for those.
No, that's true.
Van Der Esch is an absolute stud. He gets hurt. Sean Lee gets hurt.
Sean Lee retired.
Sean Lee retired. Jaylen Brown was already hurt when they brought him in. Like, does Dallas just love hurt linebackers? Like, what? It's like, oh, that linebacker's great. But hey, Jerry Jones, he's broken. Bring him in. Well, let's do this. I think Eagles are far off from anything. And then I don't think the Giants did enough in the draft. They brought in Kenny Golladay. Love Kenny Golladay in that system. But again, there's no one to protect Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. Like,
No.
who's going to do it? And the defense is horrible. So,
Billy, go ahead. Wow, we all have 3 different people here. That's pretty good. I like it. Go ahead, Billy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I I don't know. Like Philly to me, I like Jalen Hurts, but I feel like he's almost like a Baker type where he just needs a couple of years. And and I've heard it from from like a ton of analysts that say like, you go back 10 years and or really more than that, like 15, 20 years, and you look at some of the quarterbacks that came through and it was year 3, year 4 before they were actually like did really, really well. And everybody's so quick to like, we want results now, 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 now. And Baker was very, very. Baker was one of those guys that was lucky enough to be able to get through those first couple of years with shitty coaches and shitty GMs and everything else. And I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to kind of go through that same type of deal. Like you need a couple of years to be able to deal with the stuff that's going on. You give him a couple of years, and I think he can be all right. I have the Cowboys winning the division, based really honestly solely on their offense alone, and the fact that they did just enough to me on the defense to be able to improve enough to be able to win games. I felt like they were in so many shootouts last year because their offense was so good. You're getting I just read an article that said Dak will be good by the time that the season starts. Like he's doing well in recovery and everything else. Do I think that he's going to be the Dak Prescott that we saw at the beginning of the season last year right away? No, I don't. And I haven't looked at their schedule, but I feel like Dak will get back into a groove. The dude has just weapons beyond belief in Dallas. And he's not going to have the any sort of pressure from like Andy Dalton or anybody like that. Okay, so so right, and you look in the division. The only honestly the toughest person in that division to me is Washington, because their defense is so good. But I feel like, and I spelled Michael Parsons wrong. But I think that they did enough on the defense with Michael Parsons and Kelvin Joseph and all these other guys that they added on top of, getting rid of Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton's terrible. Adding Blake Bell. I just think that they did enough on the defense to improve well enough to be able to take the division. We all know the NFC East is terrible, but I think the Cowboys offense, they might win games 45-35, but they're going to win games as opposed to last year where they would lose games 48-45. They're going to win those type of games now, I think, in my opinion. With a healthy Dak Prescott and a little bit better defense, it'll be enough to. But do I think that they're going to do much in the playoffs? No, I don't. I think that they're still going to be maybe they could win a game if they got against the right team that had a lesser defense. But I still think that they're probably get into playoffs and lose type deal. So let's see, we got Washington, Dallas, and what you said, Philly too. So I mean, that's the NFC East. Who knows? Everybody we picked everybody but the Giants. So the Giants are probably.
I wanted to add in here too about the Eagles. The thing that bugs me the most about the Eagles, and we talked about Jalen Hurts, and I think Jalen Hurts could be the dude. I think he'd be incredibly good. The coach, I forget what his name is, and I don't feel like learning his name because I don't feel like he deserves the respect after what the shenanigans that he pulled at the draft. But when he came out to the press and he told the press that, hey, I know he wasn't a part of the draft that drafted Jalen Hurts, but when he said, hey, Jalen Hurts isn't quarterback number one. We don't quarterback number one is up for grabs. Can either of you tell me who the backup quarterback on the Philadelphia Eagles is right now?
It's not Nate Sudfeld anymore.
I will give you a hint. He is the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Worst quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts is expected to compete with Joe Flacco. for the starting quarterback job of the Philadelphia Eagles. Give the dude the keys to the kingdom. Let him run wild with it. Like, if you do that, like, you completely demoralize, like, I mean, maybe that's a weird tactic he's using to fucking get Jalen Hurts motivated. But if I was Jalen Hurts, I'd be like, dude, who are you again? Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, like, I'd be like, dude, this is my team, bro. Like, literally, I got the keys handed to me from Carson Wentz last year. Who are you again? Exactly. Like,
No, I agree, man.
yeah. But so
All right,
I think with these last wild cards, I think what we should do is we should just run through, like, each of us go through little spiel real quick on why we think they're going to make the playoffs. All 4 of our wild cards of who we think is going to make the playoffs. So
No, I'm good with that. Billy, you want to go first?
yeah.
All right, I'll go. I got Baltimore coming out of the AFC North. It's either going to be Cleveland or Baltimore. One of those two. I got Cleveland winning division. I got Baltimore taking the wild card. And then I got Green Bay taking the second one. I still think even though Aaron Rodgers not coming, if he plays, they take the division. If he doesn't, wild card. But outside of that, those are my 2 in that division. And then I got the Rams. I got that one because that's a crapshoot division with the Cardinals and everybody.
It is.
I got the Cardinals division,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got the Rams taking second. I don't think. I think Carolina might surprise some people.
Interesting. Interesting. I like it.
I do like it.
I guess I'll roll. So for my AFC, my wild cards that I have, I did have Baltimore winning the division, so I've got Cleveland as the number 2 coming out of that, and I actually have 3 teams out of the AFC North. I do have the Cincinnati Bengals. They're my 8th eighth spot in that division coming out. So we did 8 spots for each division, if anybody's wondering. So I have them as my 8th. I do think that they could possibly pull it together. I disagree with both of you, actually. We were talking about earlier we were going to do for a later time. I disagree with both of you on what they did with the offensive line. They brought in Riley Reif from the Vikings, and then they did draft Jackson Carman from Texas. I actually like what they did. I think they get some pieces back that are healthy. I like them coming out. My other 2 from the AFC, I've got Tennessee going in, and then I have the Chargers making the playoffs. I like the Chargers to make a run in the playoffs. I love Justin Herbert, love what he's doing. If that defense can stay healthy, dear Lord, wow, yeah, that is going to be scary. And then for the NFC, I have the Rams. As much as I hated their draft, absolutely disgusting draft, I do have them coming in. I don't think the Seahawks can compete with the defense of San Francisco and the Rams. And then I have the Cowboys as my second team coming out. I think that if they turn the reins over to Justin Fields, the Bears can do enough to make it to the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers playing. If Aaron Rodgers plays, then I think the Bears are just let Justin Fields sit for the year, let Andy Dalton do his thing, whatever. I don't think Andy Dalton will be half bad in that system, but that's just a optimistic Bear over here. And then, as crazy as it seems, my 8th wild card, I have the New Orleans Saints making the playoffs. Again, horrible draft. But as long as Sean Payton's there, I think he finds an option for that team to win. They have a lot. Oh man, I really think that Crab Leg Jameis can revive what's his face's career. Eating them W's, man. Weirdest thing I've ever seen on the entire internet. Like besides that. But Michael Thomas, I think he could revive Michael Thomas's career. Look what he did for Chris Godwin and what's his face in Tampa Bay, and even when Vincent Jackson was there, he was making them viable options. Is he going to throw a ton of picks? still, yes, but he throws the ball and he does his thing. So
Yep.
those
No,
are my teams.
we're a little off, all three of us, which is fun. But I had in the AFC, I had Browns winning the North, so I have got the Ravens coming out of the AFC as the number one wild card. I gave them a B+ on the draft. You guys kind of already alluded to it. I think that they did a good job at adding Rashad Bateman. I just feel like they're just with the way that the schedule is set up. I think that the Browns are just going to be just a tick above them. The Ravens are going to be one of those teams that are a scary first round matchup, but we all know how they are in the playoffs and how Lamar is in the playoffs. And then the last two AFC teams that I have are the Chargers and the Dolphins. I think the AFC to me is a little bit more clear than the NFC. The Chargers are that team that's up and coming. They did what they needed to do to protect Justin Herbert. They have the weapons there. I gave them an A in their drafts as well. I don't think that obviously they compete with the AFC West or in Kansas City, but they're up and coming, and I think that they can make the playoffs. And then the Dolphins, I also gave them an A in their draft. They gave Tua some weapons to play with, and they're not going to beat Buffalo out for the division, but just like last year, I think that they're going to be that good team, except this year, instead of finishing 11-5 and missing the playoffs, that they'll actually make the playoffs this year. My last team in the AFC that I think is a borderline team that could knock one of those three teams out would be the Broncos. And strictly not even with, I would say, even with Teddy Bridgewater there or Drew Lock, I think that the Broncos could be scary. They have the weapons there. It just takes the right quarterback to be able to run that offense because the defense is very good. The offense, if they were to end up, and I think I'll even pull up. I showed Alan the slide earlier, but I actually put legitimately star Aaron Rodgers ? Star. Like there's been talks, a lot about Aaron Rodgers possibly going there, and if he goes there, he goes there, and I think if he does, he competes in the West to even maybe even win the division. However, I don't think that ends up happening. Even if he does not end up there, I think that Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock do enough to be able to at least make themselves part of the conversation. Along with, I didn't add it on there, but the Oakland Raiders, a couple of the other teams that will actually compete. Going to the NFC side, I have the Saints, Washington, and the Seahawks. The Saints, I didn't give a grade draft, grade 2. I gave them like a C-. To me, they didn't do enough. They still have Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. But after going, it's funny as I was going through all of this, and I had written them down before I'd gone through all of their off-season type stuff and whatnot. And I started thinking about, I was like, I don't really know, because like if you look right here, like key additions, they got Nick Vannett. Look how much they lost. They lost Drew Brees. They lost Quan Alexander, Jared Cook, Nick Easton, Janoris Jenkins, Emmanuel Sanders, Sheldon Rankins. Like they lost a lot, and their draft didn't really do all that much for them. The best they did, I think that Ian Book honestly could be if you give him the right person to sit behind, could be an all right quarterback, maybe like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, destined to be a backup type deal. They really didn't do that much. They could end up being one of those teams that miss the playoffs, but I still have them in it. Washington, such a great defense. I think that with Fitzmagic there and all the weapons that he does have, or I would say all, but the few weapons that he does have, I think Terry McLaurin has a great year. I think that they do enough to be able to make a run and be able to get into the playoffs. And the Seahawks they were so tough for me because once I went through all of the stuff that they've done and not done throughout the entire offseason, it was very hard for me to honestly almost put them in, but I was like, you still have DK Metcalf, and you still have Tyler Lockett, and you still have Russell Wilson, maybe, so it was hard for me to not put them in there. And they did, look at their key departures, man. They lost so much.
Everybody.
Like they lost so much. Granted, they did get Alden
Defense
Smith.
is
They
gonna
got
be
Gerald
so
Everett and
bad.
Pierre Desir, but like, golly, they lost so much. Like you are at this point, you are in what I have them. Like they're a borderline, in my opinion, they're a borderline wild card team, and
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad because you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but you can't do anything for him. And I feel like, that's kind of where I'm at. I think that the Seahawks are a sneaky team that could get in there. I don't think I ever actually did my NFC West team, the 49ers. That's who I had coming out of the NFC West. I didn't have the Cardinals. That was when we were in our little break. I think that Trey Lance does enough to be able to win that division, actually. But that's who I have. But boys, I think this has been a good little episode here. So, last thoughts, anybody?
Last thoughts. I am going to be in Las Vegas on October 10th for a reggae festival with my wife for her birthday. And as I was booking all of this to get this all set up and everything, the NFL schedule came out. Chicago is playing the Raiders at the new stadium on October 10th on her birthday. Nice. I will mortgage my house to pay for tickets to go see that game. It will be amazing.
Nice.
Yes.
Billy, you got anything?
You're muted, Billy.
Yeah, you're muted. Can't hear you.
No, you gotta hit the mute button on the thing. You're muted, dude.
We can't hear you.
All right, there you go, dipshit.
There we go. The guy who doesn't know how to unmute himself.
So, I really don't have anything. It's pretty much just going to see what kind of injuries we see in this offseason, kind of like what's his nuts from Denver where he tore his Achilles and they cut his contract. Now he's suing the team.
Yeah, Deshaun Hamilton. Yep.
Yeah. But I'll be tuned out of the NFL for a little bit because I got the NFL playoffs, boys. Penguins start their series stand tomorrow against the Islanders at home. See how that goes. I know Scott.
Let's go.
Suck the big giant donkey dick. So we'll keep that going. We'll keep that rolling. See how that turns out.
Yeah, I'm done with the NHL. Like at least for the next couple of years, because it's going to take the Red Wings a while to kind of catch back up. But
the Red Wings not doing so hot. Interesting.
No, they're terrible. They're terrible. Like they're terrible. Like right now, this is why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, because at least they're like competing for a division with like the terribleness that they have. They're still competing for a division. So, man. Kind of like you, Alan. I actually opening or like when tickets went on sale, I went and bought Browns Chiefs tickets because I'm a big Browns fan, but everybody knows that I'm stationed just outside Kansas City. So my wife will actually be in Iceland at the time on a TDY, which kind of sucks. But I'm taking my son, who has become a huge Baker Mayfield fan, and my stepdaughter and her dad. We are all there, big Chiefs fans, and we are actually going to go together. So it'll be a little fun family time with me and Lorelai and Brian and Owen to be able to go watch the Chiefs and the Browns. And then I found out that my in-laws are actually going to be there as well. And then I bought Tiffany tickets to go see the Chiefs Raiders game in December too. So good times ahead for us to go out. Like, yes, I'm a big Browns fan, but I root for the Chiefs as well when they're not playing the Browns just by marriage. So should be a good time. Really excited for the season coming up, man. I think that there's going to be at least one or two more off-season acquisitions between Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and goofball from Houston.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Deshaun Watson. I think between those three, one of them will go somewhere besides where they are. But yeah, boys, this has been fun. We will be coming back to y'all hopefully in the next week or two with episode 3. We'll have to kind of figure out where we're going to go from here.
Yeah, we'll come together.
Yeah. Once again, we like to do NFL type stuff, but if we find something that we can do on the major on the MLB or the NHL, we got the NHL playoff stuff coming up. So we'll see where we're at, and we'll get back to you guys. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it. If anybody actually watched us on Facebook Live, which I've been paying attention, I don't think we ever had anybody. That's okay. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and spread the word. All washed up.
Hit that like button. Hit that follow. Yeah. All washed
hey,
up, baby.
Hold on. We have a Twitter too. Let me get you that Twitter handle real quick. It's I believe it's. Hey, listen, man. I'm pretty sure it's like Twitter. It's like 21. Hold on. That's not
Do it up because I'm about to lose power. It's shit
Yeah,
storming down here.
it's at all washed up 21. So at all washed up 21. That's our Twitter handle. We do have a Facebook page as well. Give us a like, watch us on when we go live, and that's it. So
There you go.
Alan, love you. Billy, I love you. I see you guys pretty soon, and I'm out. So
Bye.
all right, boys.
Alan, Big Al, Scott, we'll see you guys later.
All right, bub.
Y'all take it easy.
You too, bub.
All
Love
right.
you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you, bud.
Later.
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 Later, bub.